dazu.
Yoga!
Hey everyone, what's up? It's Randy from Lee's Garage again, and today we're going to be working on my 1973 Ford F-250, nicknamed the Hulk. This truck's been in my family. My dad purchased it, I believe, in 1992. So it's been a part of my life, basically my entire life. And I've bought and sold a lot of cars, but this one, it can't go anywhere. This has to stay. So a couple months ago, I purchased a Holley carburetor because I didn't like the way the Edelbrock carburetor was. It's a pain to adjust the floats, rejet it, etc. So I purchased a Holley carburetor, a Street Avenger, and got it on there. I hooked up an external fuel tank just with the gas can to the fuel pump, and I actually got this thing to start. But the fuel in the tank is rotten. I'm sure a lot of the fuel lines are cracked. The cooling system, I don't trust it. It would get warm before when you would drive it. I remember if you were like in stop and go traffic and stuff. So I got a new water pump, all new hoses. I got a fan clutch for it. Fuel lines, we're gonna drain the fuel tank, change the oil. I believe I have spark plugs for this thing somewhere. So we're gonna go through and do all that stuff. My goal is to get this thing, I wanna drive it around the block today. All right guys, we're gonna start with overhauling the cooling system. Alright, water pump's off. Lighting is terrible here, sorry. The sun is like beating down, causing some weird cutoffs. But anyways, water pump's out, fans out, the shroud. Originally, you'll see in the time lapse, I went to pull the radiator, but down there, I think, yeah, you can see them. The transmission cooling lines, I don't want to disconnect that, it's a hassle. So I got the AC, actually this thing don't have AC. Power steering pump is just off the bracket and kind of laying over here because the bracket and everything. All the bracketry kind of attaches to the water pump. So anyhow, you've seen I didn't have a thermostat in this thing because just when I started it up the other day, I was just trying to have water in it. So I just threw the water neck on it. But anyhow, time for reassembly. Alright guys, I'm under the truck. So here, I'm taking a little break from the cooling system. I just gotta hook up the lower radiator pipe or hose and then fill it up. That sucker will be done. But it's easier. I'm replacing this fuel line. Here's the mechanical fuel pump, and fuel line goes right here. Here is the old fuel line. I mean, I took it off so it got ripped up a little bit, but you can see this thing was in pretty bad shape. Where is it? Ah, there it is. It's pretty rotted and old. See the cracking there? So I'm replacing the fuel line, and I'm using a this is Gates biofuel compatible line. So the ethanol here in California shouldn't rot that as bad as it would rot the old fuel lines. But check it out. This truck has two tanks. This is like an auxiliary tank. I don't know if it's aftermarket or it's like a dealer add-on or what. At the best, dealer add-on. And then this is the main tank, the original tank. So this, I'm not gonna run this auxiliary tank. But here this is like a little switch. Here, it's like seized up now, but you can switch what tank you wanted to pull from with this, main, off, auxiliary. So what I'm doing here, I'm gonna jump this line and this line, or this line, same line, but we're just gonna loop these two and bypass that whole switch. So I'll only be able to run on the main tank, and the auxiliary tank, basically, I'll end up taking that out. You can see it's this big tank right here. I'll take it out. That tank back there, that's the main tank you can see there. That's a 18-gallon tank, but from LNC truck I can get a 28-gallon tank back there. So that's probably what I'm gonna do. So anyways, I'm just gonna jump these fuel lines real quick, and that tank's about empty, so I'm just gonna go get some fresh fuel and we're gonna fire this bad boy. I'm gonna put a fuel filter on it too. I need to put a fuel filter. This is what I was talking about. But I put two filters. I put this clear filter on it so I can see what kind of filth I'm getting out of the tank. And then I have a secondary filter here just to back it up. And when this gets plugged up or dirty, I'll switch it until I get it clean. And then I'll know the tank is clean. So anyways, that's it for the fuel lines.
Alright, here we go. Probably gonna take a while because I don't believe there's any fuel in the car.
I guess it helps if I pull the carb, the cover I had on it off. I think maybe the fuel is getting to that filter, but I'm thinking there's not a ton of fuel spraying out of the, when I flip the throttle up here. So I'm thinking maybe the bowls are kind of empty. It's taking a little while to get the fuel up here. So I'm gonna throw some fuel, fill the bowls real quick. Alright guys, you've seen it fire up. I'm gonna let this thing run, let the thermostat open up, let this thing start cycling some coolant, top it off, make sure I have enough coolant in the system, check for any leaks, and then I'll take you guys on my first drive.
Come on, let's go.